Hello everyone. Jai Hind. It's my proud privilege. Hi Suchitra.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, very well. It's my proud privilege to welcome a very, very special guest. Someone
Yeah,
who has.
we've been planning this. We've been planning this for a while now, and I'm so glad that it's finally come through, Mohammed. Yeah, really.
Thank you, Suchitra. Thank you so much. And I am feeling really overwhelmed on top of the world that I am sitting, though virtually I will not say beside or in front of someone who I really admire a real lot, and I've been very, very inspired by her. Well, Suchitra Pillai needs no introduction at all, eh, gentlemen. You all know her, you all have seen her, you all have loved her, you all dote on her, you all adore her. She is a renowned, well, let me start from here. The list goes on like this, okay? Renowned
One
actor,
life, one life.
renowned actor, as you all know, she's been the VJ at the time when the entire trend of VJing was catching up at that
Absolutely.
time.
Yes,
She is
yes.
she's been a renowned anchor, a beautiful singer, a supermodel, and moreover, an amazing human being. An amazing human being. And trust me, my dear friends, and Suchitra is a delight, and what a vibration she has where she walks, when she goes and she like, you know, last I met Suchitra was at the Andheri Sports Complex in the stadium where your daughter was practicing badminton,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
And the ISL matches were going on, the football matches were going on, and the vibration of Suchitra Pillai inside the entire stadium,
How
rather, I would
sweet.
say.
Thank you. How sweet.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for taking our time and being on this show, and
No,
really
absolutely.
grateful to you. Yeah,
Absolutely. My pleasure.
thank you very much. I would like to know a bit about your early childhood before we go on to your 1993 when you got your break in
Yes,
your
my first film.
French film and the English
Yeah.
film. But before that, I would like to
But
know a bit
before that,
about.
okay, where it all started for this Malayali girl was probably when I was born in Chennai. Way back in 1970. I don't lie about my age. I'm turning 52 this year, 51 right
My
now.
goodness, you're lying. No, you're lying. No, you're lying. No, you're lying.
And yeah, so I was born in Chennai, but entirely brought up in Mumbai. Soon after I was born, I was in Bombay, and a Bandra girl, as I call myself, because I studied in St. Joseph's Convent, Bandra. I studied junior college in National College, Bandra. I did engineering in Father Agnell's college in Bandra. So I was a Bandra girl till. My childhood was, I mean, we were lucky that me and my sister were brought up in a very cosmopolitan upbringing by my parents. My father was in finance. He retired as the vice president finance of Cable Corporation of India, the Khatau Group, and my mother has been a professor for many many years until the year 2011. She was my professor actually in English in National College. So she would pick me out of the crowd. Suchitra, tell me what's going on in the class, and I wouldn't have any clue. So that was mom and dad. My sister is a doctor. She lives in the UK. But my childhood, I would say there was zero complaints, zero complaints, because it was a childhood that a lot of these kids don't experience these days. Who plays house anymore? Who plays Lagori and who plays Chor Police? They're sitting there with their phones, and we had that kind of childhood. We had, it was amazing. It was amazing, having friends who lived around the area, climbing walls to go to the next building to play with them. Everyone coming to my bungalow to play house at the back of our bungalow. It was just beautiful. A wonderful childhood, I would have to say, and thanks to my parents, never wanting for anything. Tough childhood in the sense it's not as if we were rolling in money. One has gone through, instances where literally there was not enough money to buy, canvas shoes for school every three months because we had rubbed down them so badly. So we'd put cardboard inside the soles of the shoes to make it last for a little while longer when the rubber wore off, so that we didn't have to buy shoes every. So we've gone through things like that. Yeah, but that has really brought a lot of more appreciation as far as money etc is concerned, and I think that has stood me in good stead for the rest of my life and career. So that was the start of it all in Bombay, and until I got married and moved to England, that was the next chapter, my first marriage.
You have such an amazing voice. As you were speaking, I was just mesmerized and listening to your voice. And so you have got a list of things. I didn't mention about the time that she's also a renowned dubbing artist, a very very popular TEDx speaker who has given TEDx talks online
Intelligent.
in the
Yes,
pandemic
yes,
and
yes.
offline.
And offline too. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
the latest offline, in fact, I would say the TEDx talk has just been published on YouTube about a month back. And you all must see it, ladies and gentlemen. So inspiring, really. So
Thank
also
you.
now you always were interested in theater. You were always from the
Yeah.
stage background, and you were. So how did the break in 1993 happen when you got this French film, man?
Yes,
Uh,
I never
I
get,
hope that.
Mohammed, I never get fed up with the story, and I love to tell it because it is what changed my life. Um, I was only interested in debates and elocution and theater and acting and all when I was in school. I never did professional theater as a teenager. I mean, when I was 10 years old, I did Annie, the musical in Bombay. Then at about 11 or 12, I did another musical called I Love You, and that was all that I did. Okay, as far as theater was concerned. I'd only been a model, for TV commercials when I was about 17. And then when I was 20, I got married. I moved to England, my first marriage. And I'd finished my engineering. After I finished my engineering at 21, that's when I moved there. And then I didn't want to work as an engineer. At that point, I was just like, Arey yaar, I don't want to sit there designing a printed circuit board. Abhi aur kya karu? So I started working in a restaurant called the Bombay Brasserie, which is a very, very famous restaurant in London, where all pop stars and film stars and all, would frequent the place. It was an Indian restaurant run by the Taj Group of Hotels, and it was a very popular place to be at. And I was a hostess there, which meant I got to meet all of these film stars, etc. So for a 21-year-old, it was like, wow, what's going on? Um, while I was there, I sent my photographs off to a model agency, and I sent it to like 30 agencies, and one of them took me on because I was, not tall enough. And out of the blue in 1992, soon about a year after I'd gotten there, this casting director, Jennifer Jaffrey, who was married to the late Saeed Jaffrey, she called them up, out of the blue and said, "Oh, I'm looking for an Indian actress to play the lead in a French film, which is about the dowry system in India. Do you have any Indian actresses?" And they said, "Oh, we've got one Indian model on our books. We don't know if she acts." So they called me up and they said, "Oh, do you want to go and do this audition? It's for this lead in this French movie." And I'd never done an audition before. I'd never, been in any movie or anything professional before. So I said, "Chalo yaar, jate." I was wearing my sari and everything as I was in the restaurant, and went to Jennifer's house. And over there were all of these other girls who, all trained actresses in Rada, Shada, you name it, all of these, all of these, and I never trained. So I overheard the girl in front of me, when she went in. We had two scenes to study in 10 minutes, which were really intense scenes. And they were one was in a hospital where she's lying, all burnt, and she's bleeding and talking to the French actress who's come to help her. The other one is where she just breaks down and she's crying and howling and she's begging, this French actress, begging her to help her from her situation. So I heard the girl in front of me going and telling Jennifer, "Oh, Jennifer, you gave us 10 minutes to get into the skin of the character. We couldn't really do that in 10 minutes." And all so Jennifer said, "Okay, read your thing and leave." And she did. I went in there and then she said, "Oh, who are you?" And I said, "I'm so and so." And she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Bombay." And, "Ma'am, this is my first audition." She said, "Oh, really? You haven't done anything before?" I said, "No." She said, "Oh, okay, sit down. Let's do the reading." I said, "No, ma'am, I'd like to act out the scene for you if you don't mind. I'll use the space." So she was like, "Okay." And she said, "Yeah, fine. Go ahead. Use the papers." I said, "No, I don't want to use the papers. I don't want to use the script. I've memorized it." And she said, "What? You've memorized it?" So I said, "Yeah, that was my engineering, rectifying all those books." So I
Great
had
for you.
memorized it. And I said, "If I forget something, I'll make it up along the way. You just play the other part." At the end of those two scenes, Mohammed, I had broken down, actual breakdown. I was at her feet and I was begging her as the scene demanded. And I was like in it and I was crying like this, and I was just looking up at her and I was still in it, after the scene finished. And I was just looking up at her, and I'll never forget her face because it changed my life. I mean, she was just looking down at me at her feet like this. And then she just caught me and she made me sit on the sofa next to her. And she was just staring at me like this. And she said, "Please tell me the truth, Suchitra, now. how many years have you been acting? And I said, ma'am, this is my first audition. And that's what changed my life. And that's what she said. And that's when she said, you do realize this is what you need to be doing. So if this is your first audition and this is what you've done. So I was like, wow, okay. And that was the turning point for me, frankly speaking. The following week, the director came in from Paris. I was shortlisted with another girl. The following week, I was in Sri Lanka, staying in a five-star hotel for 6 weeks, shooting this movie as the lead in a movie in the start of my career. So who didn't want to go into acting after that? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and that's how it happened. And then another battle was won because Saeed played my father in that film, so he must have sent back some reports to Jennifer. Because when I came back to England, she said, I'd like to represent you as an agent. I'm starting an agency and you'll be my first client. So that's where it all began, and that's how it all began. And I started doing a lot of theater there because, to build your body of work in England, you can't just say, oh, I'm a movie star, or I've done a movie, or I've done this. So I did children's theater. I did musicals like Jungle Book. I did, theater wherein you just go, you take the whole set to a school, you put it up, you do the play, take it out, go to another school, do another Christmas play, that kind of thing. Did a lot of radio drama for the BBC and for a few other theatre companies. And it was just one journey after another. I did another English film called The Guru in Seven, also in England. And yeah,
97. In 97, that was.
97, yes, yes. And that had, I don't know if people recall, in Bride and Prejudice, Nitin Ganatra,
Of
the
course.
actor.
With
Yeah, so
Charles
I was
Darcy, yeah,
opposite him.
yeah.
It was my
In
first
fact, in fact,
on-screen kiss, believe it or not, that movie.
right.
Yeah.
And this was before you set up as a VJ, and it's like people
Oh,
say
yeah.
that, a VJ turned actor. No, I always tell them, no, actress first, know about her,
Yeah.
actress who became a
And then,
VJ, anchor, and then,
very
yes,
good
that
point.
is
That's the first time that in all these years, that's the first time somebody has actually brought it up like that, Mohammed. That you were an actress first and then a VJ. That is the first time ever, and I'm proud, to say that is true. You know.
high five for that. Thank you. You made my day. You
Yeah.
really made my day. All right. So tell us now, after first they say you've done electronic engineering and then you
That's
enter
right.
into acting. So they say, okay, yeah, engineering. But I would say no form of education ever goes for a waste. Your
Absolutely.
engineering education there helped you crack the first audition in its own way.
Yes, the confidence that you get when you have knowledge behind you, frankly speaking. And I always tell my daughter, she's very creatively inclined. And I say, no, but I will insist that you finish whatever, your studies and then do whatever else you want to do, whether, you do a degree. Nobody's saying I'm not forcing her to become doctor, engineer. I'm a South Indian. I don't know. My sister became a doctor. I became an engineer. It's one of those things. But it is very, very important. I've always maintained for you to be able to hold a conversation in front of other people, for you to be able not to feel any less than anybody else. That's where your education comes in. And that's where, you have those many feathers in your cap and you can turn around and say, I have a degree in this and I have a degree in that. And, that's when people take you seriously in life. It may sound superficial, but it is true. It is true. And it's for a girl also, it's very, very important. To have that backing so that you can be independent for the rest of your life. If things don't work out the way you want to work out, you have something to fall back on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you after acting in a French film, English film, international projects, you came into as a VJ. Now,
Yes.
as an actor, just talking purely about the craft, how different is the craft of acting and the craft of VJing? Both
Oh,
of them I see are performing art, actually. Yes.
yes. But as a VJ, you're performing as yourself, and as an actor, you're performing as somebody else's life. That's the I would say that's the major difference. Um, for being a VJ, I mean, that's another job that I went and got for myself completely. That's another story. If you don't mind, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
met,
mean, love to.
I met when I came back. When I was separated from my ex-husband and I came back to India, I was like wondering what am I going to do? And I had promised my parents. I was the first ever divorce in my mother's side of the family ever in history, ever. So you can imagine, I had that thing on my head at 27, being a divorcee. Women would hold on to their husbands as soon as they saw me in a party in Bombay. It was one of
What
those
the hell?
times. I said no, and I told my parents, I said I want to make something of myself. I will never step on anybody's toes. I will make you proud of me. Just thank you for being there for me when I come back to your house. But I will never make you feel embarrassed about me, and I will never never compromise on my values. saying which I had met the general manager of Channel V, Jules Fuller, at a party, at a friend's party, and he was there, and we had just gotten chatting, and then he said, "Oh, I'm the GM of this channel called." I said, "I've just come from London and stuff, So he said, "Oh, how come you don't have an accent?" I said, "I lived 21 years here in India and 7 years in London. Why would I have a British accent? Some people though go to Sahar Airport and get an accent, but that's another story."
Ares, I know people who flew over the embassy, the British embassy, and they got the accent.
So anyway, so he said, "Yo, I'm the GM of Channel Beam." I said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen the channel. It's a fantastic channel, but it's your loss that I'm not on it." Blind. That's exactly what I said to him. Those words. You can ask Jules till today. And he was shocked. He still, till today, when we talk about it, that was so many years ago. And he says, "I couldn't believe it when you just turned around and said that. I mean, you didn't know everything about the channel. You didn't know anything." I just said, "Yeah, it's great. It's great fun. I can see your VJs and everything, but you're lost that I'm not on the channel." And he said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious." So he said, "Do you want to put your money where your mouth is? Supposing I give you an audition." I said, "Give me an audition. Come on." So the following week, they called me for an audition, and they didn't give me a script. As soon as I went in there, they made me stand in front of the camera, and they said, "Okay, you have 5 minutes. Create your own countdown show now. 5 minutes starts now." And that was it. I just created my own show without a script, nothing. I just started talking to the camera, and they sent it to Hong Kong, which was our head office. And they told me later that 6 people were sitting there, and they looked and they said, "Man, this girl needs her own show." And they made Simply South, and I was launched on Channel B with Simply South, which was such a great show because even though it was South Indian music, everyone watched it because I was doing kya bandargiri. I was doing anything I felt like doing. I would go to Chennai to shoot it every week with a production company there, and they just gave me a free hand. As far as script was concerned, I'd add bits of Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada as and when I could, and I'd create characters like I'd be a Nariyal Paniwala, I'd be a police officer, I'd be all sorts of strange things, climb on top of big statues and do the episode from there, mad things. And I'll never forget, people like two people who I remember who are like biggies, Anand Mahindra and wife Anuradha, and Anil and Tina Ambani. I had met them at a party, and they said, "We don't even know why we watch Simply South because we can't understand the music, but we love the show." I remember these 4 people, because they just let me be me, and that's the difference between acting, for screen and acting, and doing being a VJ, because they take you for what you are and what you can bring to the table as your own personality, who is Suchi, and you don't have to be anybody else. Whereas, in the acting department, that's where you shine by being somebody else, and you don't show Suchi at all. So that's the big difference.
Absolutely. You also made your singing debut in the year 2001. And
Yeah.
you have been singing before that, of course. I mean,
Yes.
you can call it a bathroom singer or whatever. It wasn't a bathroom singer, but you had been singing.
Yeah. No, I sang as a kid, since the time I was 6 or 7 years old, in these competitions that used to happen, parish competitions, in St. Teresa's Church opposite. And even though me and my sister were Hindu, not part of the parish, they used to allow me and my sister to take part in those parish competitions, and that's how I kind of English jazz, English classical, all of that.
I as an actor, they always say you should have a very good voice, be it as a speaker, as an actor,
Yeah.
as a television presenter. So now you have one of the best voices. I don't need to have to flatter you, but I'm being very honest. Your voice is truly one of the best voice I've heard. Yeah, it's like it is mesmerizing to the ear. Tak when Suchitra Pillai speaks, it's like people listen, love and
Thank you.
listen. All right.
कभी
So
कभी तो
now
लोग मुझे, the only problem is लोग मुझे सर कहते हैं यार on the phone in the morning. They say ऐसा अरे यार, I might as well then I might as well then talk like Amitabh Bachchan. ऐसे, रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप लगते हैं, नाम है सुचित्रा.
right. There are
Hmm.
many good actors who are not good singers. I mean, in fact, they're training now. I know some actors, some
Yes.
renowned actors, after
Yes.
60, they start sitting with their harmonium, they start
Yes.
training in singing. So, they always say, had I been a good singer from the time I was training at the NSD as an actor, I would perhaps by now would have been a better actor. But I say, but you, sir, you're already so good as an actor.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
how far would you go with a statement like that coming from a very renowned actor that had he been a good singer, he perhaps would have been a better actor?
The only, I would think, music, I mean, it's a universal language. You can use it everywhere. So when you're talking about music being part of acting, I mean, in our Hindi movies, of course, if you sing, then you can sing your song. You sing the song while you're shooting a song and dance sequence, and that adds a hell of a lot to it rather than just mouthing the words. That's one aspect of it. But I think, when you're bringing me, when it's when you if you're a singer, and if you're shooting like a song sequence or whatever, or they're playing even a song in the background for a scene of yours, the emotion that comes through when you're understanding the music or whatever, it definitely makes a difference, I feel. But it can be exclusive as well. You don't have to be a great singer to be a good actor, or vice versa, but it's definitely an added advantage, most definitely, because then you get seen for musicals. You get opportunities to sing, for projects that you're maybe dubbing for. Like I just sang for Meryl Streep. I did her dubbing for Mary Poppins too, in Hindi, her character Topsy Turvy, and I even sang her song in Hindi. So then you get to do interesting things like that too, if you're a singer as well.
Right. Sita, when you were shooting for Dil Chahta Hai, in fact, when you were one of our favorite films, in fact, till today it's watched and everyone can connect with it. So there was a
Yes.
scene when you and Saif were like, and the eyes, the peering eyes, and the dominating girlfriend.
Oh my
So
God, yes.
people have
Yeah.
that image. Suchitra Pillai, a dangerous man. She's too dominating, man. She's too overbearing, and वो बोल ही नहीं देगी. So it was like, so a friend of mine told me, you're interviewing Suchitra Pillai, so you'll be on the show. I hope you are able to ask her some questions because unlike
तो
Saif Ali
उसे
Khan
क्या,
के बोलती
मगर क्यों
बदले,
ऐसे?
तो they recommended
Yeah, yeah,
me
yeah. I
कि आप उसे enact करना where you're trying to ask Suchitra a question and she's asking something and you say नहीं मगर
Yeah.
तो बोलो
मगर वो
बोलो
कैसे क्या, कैसे क्या, मगर क्यों?
that was
मैंने आकाश को फोन किया, उसने कहा कि तुम वहां पे थे ही नहीं क्या?
that was a classic.
मेरे साथ रहना है कि नहीं, ये सोचने के लिए तुम्हें वक्त चाहिए मोहम्मद.
Classic one.
Oh man, what a movie! What a movie
I
to be part of. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. I never auditioned for that film. Farhan was a friend, 26 years old. I mean, kudos to him. Really, he called me up one day and he said, "Hi, yeah, I've written this movie yaar, about my friends, and it's like, tu kar le yaar, ye part hai, you're doing it." I said, "Oh, okay, fine." So he said, "Ha, by the way, just come to the office." I go to the office and who's sitting there? Saif Ali Khan. And he said, "Oh, just meet your co-star." Very casually, meet your co-star. I said, "What? Saif Ali Khan, my co-star?" And he says, "Yeah, this is your co-star." And I said, are we auditioning or something? He said, "No, no, no. Actually, the two of you are here now. Khade ho yaar. Why don't you both start jogging on the spot? There's a jogging sequence in this." That was, he said, "The office mein khade raho and start jogging on the spot. I'll see how both of you look jogging, it seems." That was Farhan for you. And that movie, what an experience. Today, as I said, I'm 51 years old. It's been 21 years since that movie happened. Still today, people say you're the Dil Chahta Hai girl. I'm very happy
Yeah.
when they say girl. I'm also very happy when they remember Dil Chahta Hai. Of all the things that I've done, it also means that, kudos to Farhan for defining each and every one of his characters so well. That girlfriend, Priya, was just a horror for guys, and all the girls were like, women power, we want to be like you. Till today, they say, "Oh man, really?" And the guys come and they say, "Thank God we don't have a girlfriend like you." It's one of
Right.
those things. But a fantastic movie to be part of, and I mean to be there with the likes of Amir Khan and Akshay and Preeti and Saif was just amazing.
I know. So, you've also done page three, fashion, and you've been a model, a supermodel yourself. So, a lot of people say that model means pretty boy, pretty girl, good looking, cannot act.
Yeah,
I somewhere don't go with that. They have their own logic that you have to pose before camera. I don't
yeah,
go with that logic at all. So
yeah.
now,
Actually, I would, and why I would say for me particularly, I was never I was more a TV commercial model. I did a lot of stuff from the time I was 17 to 20. A lot of TV commercials, be it Sunsilk shampoo, where I met Ravina Tandon, who's still a friend. Both of us did Sunsilk together. Sunflower brand Vanaspati, you name it. I did loads of ads. loads and loads of ads, but mainly TV commercials. So for that reason, yes, you have to already start acting when you're doing TV commercials, which is why, sadly, which is not true also in many cases. When they say a model cannot act, it's because they just see the models walking up and down a ramp, and they just make that, an assumption that they're not doing anything. They're just clothes horses and they're walking. But when you look at a model who has done a lot of stuff when it comes to commercials, etc., you have to act when you're doing TV commercials. Otherwise, you can't just stand there like a block. It won't come through. You won't be able to sell the product. Um, so that was definitely a good training, I would have to say. From the time I was 17 when I was doing all of these ads. And yes, I think I proved quite a few people wrong when that whole models can't act kind of scenario. Yeah.
बहुत मजा आता है, especially when you prove these people wrong ना, spring the naysayers and all, अरे they can't act, ये नहीं कर पाएंगे, अच्छा नहीं कर पाएंगे, okay, अब हम दिखाते हैं, हम बताते हैं.
आप जरा
So
आइए
then you
मेरे
see the trend.
अवार्ड्स तो देखो.
Exactly.
Tell them that.
Awards की बात रही, 2017 में you got an international, in fact, you on two international festivals, you won the best actress, in fact. So tell us about that, Suchitra.
What a fantastic, fantastic movie that was. It was a film called The Valley, which we shot in San Francisco.
At the Long Island International Film Festival, it was.
Yes, I won Best Actress at the Long Island International Film Festival and Milan International Film Festival as well. And that was for The Valley, and I played opposite Ali Khan. It was a very serious film about teenage depression, and a film that needed to be told. Saila Karyat, who is from San Francisco, she wrote this and directed it. 21 days, we finished this entire film in 21 days. Absolutely phenomenal the way she shot this movie. And for me, it was heart-wrenching as a mom to a now teenager. She was much younger then, but to think that this is going on so much, not only in America, all across the world, because of the pressure that these kids have, to perform and to be the best, and to shine in front of everybody else and be like the Joneses per se, and emulate other people and be better than so and so. There's so much of pressure on them, and that's what deals to a lot of teenage depression, and which is what is shown in this Silicon Valley family who are very rich, etc. There's two kids. The elder one is being a doctor. The other one, the younger one, who's 16, is in college, and she's the one who commits suicide. And we don't know why. And it's about the fight between, as in, it's the turmoil that the family goes through after her death, because the mom starts blaming herself, the father starts blaming himself for not spending time because he's a Silicon Valley giant. This sister is a doctor, so she blames herself. This little girl found out that her mom was having an affair with her tennis coach. She finds that out. She sees that in her diary, so she's guilty about, was that the reason? So it's this whole the turmoil that this family goes through. So it keeps going between flashback and present day. And for me as an actor, it was a very, very powerful role to play, not only as mother to these two kids or as wife, etc., but this turmoil that happens when you lose a child, and it had to come from, God forbid, thank God it had to be all acting, because, I haven't gone through anything as bad in my life, but just to feel, what she was feeling was heart-wrenching. And I think that kind of worked, because it got me both these awards. And so many years must have been about 23 years in the industry finally. And I'd got maybe best negative role as bad Masi in this TV serial or something, after all the theater work that I've done and, everything. So I was very, very happy, I would have to say, that, my first award was an international award. And then soon after, it was followed up by the one in Milan. And, I got to fly to Long Island to collect my first award. And just that feeling it won't go away. Your first... अरे Oscars जाएंगे तब देख लेंगे, लेकिन till then.
Like you will go for Oscars also, and for Cannes also, and for BAFTAs also, and जितने भी award हैं, and बहुत सी दुआएं हैं आपके लिए, वाकई में.
जब तक है जहाँ.
You are a very good human being, Suchitra. You are an amazing person, and one thing which many of the people who have worked with you, have known you closely, they always vouch for one thing. Suchitra Pillai is a very, very committed, disciplined, and a very business. कि भाई काम है तो काम है. No fooling around. Very serious
Yeah,
actress.
no, and no, when it comes to fooling around, no, when I'm the clown on the set. I
Yeah.
mean, that way fooling around, yes, I really am. I'm
But
probably known as, modesty set aside, I'm probably the one who kind of brings, everyone together. Case in point, Naveed Aslam in Be Intiha, this really, who played my husband, very serious actor. And you won't believe, by the end of Be Intiha, people were coming to his van and sitting, and all of us were eating lunch in his van. And he used to tell me, he said, Suchi, in my 25-year career, I would sit with a book between shots and not talk to anybody. How the hell is this happening? So he would blame me in a nice way for making it happen. I love meeting new people, which is why I love my job. I mean, I really do, because it allows you to meet so many different people. It allows you to be so many different people. And it's genuine, Mohammed. I from my core, I love what I do. So whatever is given to me opportunity wise, whether it's dubbing, whether it's singing, whether it's acting, whether it's theater, whether it's film, OTT, TV serials, you name it, when you give your 100% because you really, really genuinely love what you do, it makes all the difference. And I think that shows probably when I'm on a set, or and I'm there, yes, to do my job. I'm not there to distract other people or anything, but I always think, जब माहौल अच्छा है ना, to work, when you make the whole environment a little easy and a little informal, that's when things get done, and that's when things really shine. So that's always been my mantra when I'm working, so it's worked up to now.
absolutely. So you have a brilliant future, brilliant life. I mean, great. You are blessed with great health. Touch wood. And before we let you go, I would like to know the secret of your fitness. I mean, we know you work very hard in the gym. Apart from that, but yet I don't know. I was told, I don't know how far I believe. Suchitra is not very
I
diet,
I I don't
very
I
bindas.
don't I'm the classic case of the friend who all the other friends curse to death because I don't exercise. I used to do yoga quite regularly till my baby was born, and then I did yoga for a little while after that. I really want to get back to it. I think the time is now for me to get back to it, because now slowly bones are aching and creaking and all, and I think that'll help. But I've never been a workout person. I've never been this running person, nothing. And I don't know how I still managed to have these muscles. So,
भाई मैं फौजी आदमी हूँ यार, भाई फौजी आदमी हूँ.
but
ये फौजी को दोस्त दिखेंगे ना, they'll
सब
get a
कुछ
complex.
नहीं. No, but I eat everything. You should ask my daughter. She says, Mom, you're still eating. It's one of those things. I eat, sugar. I eat sweet. I eat everything. I just don't think about it. And I have a very high metabolism. I think so. That's one of the lucky factors. And that's what keeps me what I am. But it is important, saying which I know that it's important to have some form of exercise. Yoga is what I'm getting back to, as I said, because I'm not into working out and stuff. And that kind of keeps me going. नहीं तो घर का काम काज करो यार, do झाड़ू पोछा for 3 days यार, and then see how good you'll feel.
I
you
know,
know
I know.
but yeah, lots to come up, lots. My second music album is ready. It's a British, very British rock of the 90s sound. I've got that. I've got loads of stuff on OTT coming up. They've just announced Rana Naidu on Netflix, which I'm part of. So I can
Yes.
talk about that. I'm in that. There's also Netflix Masaba 2. There is another series called Kalbari Records. There's another one on Woot just released called Adha Ishq. So there's 3-4 more which I've already finished, which will be coming out soon. So fingers crossed on that. Yeah. And movie,
All
yeah. There's
are
one
going to
nice
be
movie.
watching it.
Yeah. There's a good movie with Tiger Baby, which I'm doing. So small bit, but nice
We
movie.
all are so looking forward to it. We all will be watching it with a lot of interest. And the way we saw your TEDx talk is so inspirational, I tell you. In fact, we talk about albums. You did a wonderful music video with Balu Sagu. Dil Cheez Hai
Yes, way
Kya
back then.
Jana.
Dil Cheese was way back when I was in England. When I lived in England, we shot that whole video, in 18 hours. And then when I met Bali back in India, 25 years later, It was just amazing. With Bali, I got to be on Top of the Pops, which was a huge show to be on in England. Though I had not sung the song, I was only in the video. We did some cheating. We took permission from the girl who sang it, from girl from Pakistan. She was there, and she said, "Okay, you can front it because it was on Top of the Pops, an Indian song after like 40 years. He was number 20 or something." And that was another surreal experience to have like Robbie Williams and take that on this stage. I was here standing in front of the mic, not even singing the song. Bali standing behind me on the keyboards, and they've written Bali Sagu Dil Cheese. Nobody knows who's Bali Sagu, who's singing, nothing, just Bali Sagu Dil Cheese, right? On this side was everything but the girl. There was Sting on the same show, and I was just standing there saying, "Yaar, ye kaise hua yaar? Girl from Bandra, Bombay. I'm standing here with Take That, Everything But the Girl, Sting, and I'm standing here miming somebody else's song. I mean, life is strange, So, really, but it was an amazing experience. And after that, walking back to the room at the back, I hear from the back in the corridor, "Hey, Bali," and Bali's telling me, "Look, look, look, they're calling you." I said, "No, no, they're calling you." He's saying, "No, no, no, they don't know that I'm Bali Sagu. They think the title was Bali Sagu. You were pretending to sing." I look back and it's Robbie Williams. And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
"What?" And he says, "Great voice, man, Bali. Love the track." And I'm like, "Thank you. Thank you." He said, "Just Bali's going, say thank you and walk, say thank you and walk. Don't say it wasn't you. Don't say it wasn't you." So yeah, some incredible experiences like that. It's been a wonderful life, and there's a hell of a lot more to come. I mean, jab tak hai jahan, as I say.
I have to tell this to you. I have to confess to you online. The way you spoke about Robin Williams and the way you spoke about when you were working in London, in the Bombay, in the coffee
Bombay
house over
Brasserie.
there, in the yeah. So similarly, the way you would be like, okay, you're meeting the biggest stars. Similarly, when I met Suchitra Pillai, I had the same feeling. Okay.
Please, have you seen what all you've done? Please, what are you talking about? You've made us proud, man. So much, so much. Really,
Very, very sweet of you.
really.
It's very, very sweet of you. So tell me, as a 21-year-old, when you said you were working in that cafe, so now today, when you go to Barista, Cafe Coffee Day, or some other coffee shop, you see the youngsters over there who are, when they see you, ma'am, ek selfie, ma'am. So they would be having the same thing about you as what you had about those stars when you were 21. So how
Yeah,
was
I
that
was.
feeling, Pavitra?
Yeah. It's a nice feeling, and that's why I make the time. I say this with all modesty set aside. I make the time as best I can to give that photograph and to give that autograph. You can't put yourself up on a pedestal just because you have done movies or just because you're seen, because there's millions of people who would love to be in your position, and you have been given that God given opportunity, and you've taken it and you've made something of yourself. But don't make that the be all and end all of what you're about, and don't put yourself up on a pedestal because you don't have the right to do that. You are there because of those people who are coming to you for that one autograph and that one photograph. So who are you to turn around and say, "No, not now"? I never believe in that. I mean, I know people who just say, "Oh, not now, not now, no, later, later." I'm like, Adi, yaar, it's like 6 seconds, man. Stand and just give a photograph. I can understand the big stars, the A-listers, when you have them swarmed by people, etc. You have to be safe as well. That's for sure. But when you're in a safe environment and someone's asking you in an airport, to give a photograph, kuch nahi jata, yaar. It makes such a big difference to them. And later on in life, someone comes up to you. I mean, just recently, when I was doing my TEDx talk, somebody came up to me and said, "Ma'am, remember this? I met you at an airport sometime." I was like, "Wow," and you've kept it in your phone. It's so nice. And that's what our job is all about, to touch people in ways that you wouldn't even think of. Somebody walking up to you in an underground station in London telling me, that TV serial you did with Chef Ali Shah, years ago, called Rahe. My life was exactly like that, me and my husband. And I followed what you did and I changed my life around. And I'm like, "What?" And she says, "Thank you." And I'm like, "Man, this is an incredible career and profession to be in, when you don't even think about it. You enjoy your work and you go and do your bit. And somebody comes and says it changed my life. It's like, wow, then you're blessed. So don't take that for granted, is what I always say. Don't take it for granted and appreciate every single day of it.
I'm so inspired hearing you. I am so mesmerized, not only by your voice, but the way you would, the person that you are. Your persona is so charismatic and so enigmatic and amazing. Yeah, amazing. And thank you so much. I am truly
Pleasure.
grateful and indebted to you for taking your time. And before we part, Any last message for any of our viewers you would like to share something?
Always, I just say to everybody, I mean, just believe in your dreams, believe in yourself. Do not give anybody else the chance to be responsible for your happiness or your success. Make it yourself. Make that pedestal for yourself. Don't let anybody else make it for you, because then it holds so much more, importance when you look at it that way. And as I said, don't there's no point stepping on somebody else's toes to get to where you want to. Sab naseeb mein likha hai yaar. What's yours is yours. Help somebody along the way. You never know, they'll turn back and help you later on in life. It's so don't be selfish when it comes to work or anything else. Be generous. Be happy. Take every opportunity, and reach for the stars. There won't be any fences to stop you.
Suchitra Pillai, what a pleasure and truly an honor for me to be in conversation with you. Thank
My
you very
pleasure.
much for taking your time, and we could just go on for hours, but I know that you're busy. I know you have to attend to your daughter as well. There's so much of stuff you have to do, but really, thank you very much. Truly appreciate.
No, my pleasure entirely. Anytime you want me back here, when my next few things are coming up, we will talk again.
Really very sweet of you. Thank you very much.
Bye
Cheers.
bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.